Hello friends, Mrinalini Dapke here. Welcome to Vachan Ranjan, and today I have brought yet another new story named Prisoners, and it is written by Beeta Shok Chatterjee. Beeta Shok Chatterjee was a ship's captain by profession. He joined the merchant navy at a young age and loved it, retiring only after having completed more than 45 years at sea. This old sea dog lives in New Delhi, India, with his memories and a wife, son, and daughter. His hobbies include listening to Western music, reading fiction, and watching cricket. He also loves good Hollywood and Bollywood movies. His first collection of short stories, Driftwood Stories Washed Ashore, surprised him with the favorable response it got, and he decided that this is what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. Right. So, here's presenting for you all his story named Prisoners. Please listen to me, Captain, as soon as Rebecca Lim was rudely interrupted. Not that standard bullshit again, Miss Lim. Do you have any idea what we are going through here at sea? This was the voice of a desperate man. You have never been a seafarer, have you? Rebecca fumed at the taunt, but kept her voice in control. As Marine HR manager of Trident Tankers Limited, the reputed Singapore based shipping company, she was not used to being spoken to like that. Working from home during the lockdown, with the additional pressure of domestic chores and extra precautions, was not helping matters. Calls from the ships by irate ship crews demanding to go home were getting strident, adding to her misery. There are seven of us. Seven of us. We finished our tour of duty 2 months ago. Several crew members are completing 10 months on board. When are our reliefs coming? Captain Balakrishnan demanded. Travel restrictions are enforced across the world, Captain. Rebecca tried to explain. It's a problem everywhere. All the ships, all the companies, hundreds of thousands of seamen are stuck at sea. Nobody can join a ship, nobody can get off. You just have to wait. Do you know what it's like to be here on board a ship in the middle of an ocean? Captain, of course I do understand, but no, you don't. My wife describes it in detail in her messages what it's like to be in lockdown, Ashore, but you have no clue what we are going through. Rebecca wondered if she should quietly disconnect the call. Imagine you are in lockdown at home, continued the captain voice a little calmer. Now take away all land from this equation and replace it with water. Take away all the roads, the parks, the trees, the sound of birds. Let there be just water. Water everywhere, as far as eyes can see. Nothing else. Captain, I know it's. No, you don't know. Next, take away doctors and nurses, okay? Yes, that's right. No doctors, no nurses. Then take away family and friends. Not enough? Take away television, news channels, entertainment, Netflix. Still not enough? Take away the internet and social media. Leave behind just some WhatsApp messaging. Now start adding, madam. Add taking body temperatures twice a day. Add wearing a face mask every time we step out of our cabin to go on duty. Getting scared if any of our colleagues cough or sneeze, knowing there is no medical help around. Add mental health issues, suicidal thoughts that arise because of the isolation and the stress. Not enough? Add working 7 days a week, rain or shine, not knowing when we will get to go home. Add constantly living under a constant fear of infection from visitors in port. Captain, stop this, please. I get it, but I have to go now. Miss Lim, we are prisoners at sea, forgotten by the rest of the world. Don't be surprised if we do something disastrous. There was a click as the call was cut. Rebecca sat still till her heartbeat returned to normal. Calls like these from captains were getting more frequent. She prayed there would be no suicides on board. Not on her watch, at least. God, please, the top management would somehow blame her. Someone had to be held accountable and to save their own hides, even if it wasn't her fault. As she prepared a quick lunch for her family, her mind raced. Yes, it was time to pass the buck upstairs. Keep her seniors in the loop. She decided to message her immediate boss, the Marine HR director, for a video conference call later in the evening. with the entire group of marine HR managers, each looking after 10 to 12 ships. Her boss, Stan, not too happy about being disturbed during the weekend, reluctantly agreed to set it up for 6 p.m. that day. He said he would get hold of some operations guys as well as for the inputs. By 5 past 6, 8 people on Zoom were smiling and nodding to each other from their respective workstations at home. Then there popped a ninth. Rebecca was surprised to see Chester Campbell on the screen, the door scoutsman who was the managing director of Trident. She guessed correctly that he had probably insisted he be invited to all the video conferences that the Marine HR department may have. Being a man of few words, the MD was known to be an efficient manager who kept a very eye on things. Rebecca began a little nervously. We have a situation developing, folks. I'm getting too many calls a day from ships with crews wanting to go home as they have finished their tours of duty as per their contracts. They are desperate. There were several murmurs of assent among the marine HR managers. It was the same story with all of them, all beset with calls from the respective ships, some of them even turning abusive with tempers not under control. The MD cleared his throat and began. Breaking news, folks. One of our ships, the Tokyo Dawn, en route from Brazil to Singapore, has diverted its course towards India without permission. Whose ship is that? Rebecca, is it yours? Campbell froze Rebecca with an icy stare. This was indeed a bolt from the blue. It appeared that the madness had begun. There would be other ships soon to follow. Rebecca tried not to show how shaken she was at the news. Yes, sir, I just spoke to the captain this morning and told him we are trying our best. Not good enough, Rebecca. Do you realize we'll lose tens of thousands of dollars freight a day per ship if the vessel doesn't go to her destination? What if other ships follow the suit? And the utter chaos that will follow? The company's reputation and finances will be in tatters. We are finished. We can threaten the crew with dismissal. Tell them we will blacklist them so they can't find work again, suggested Raymond, a marine HR manager. I don't think they care about getting blacklisted anymore, remarked Stan Norona, the marine HR director, wearily shaking his head. They are more worried about dying at sea from COVID 19, with no medical help around. They just want to go home, he shrugged helplessly. Will insurance cover these acts of deviations? If we are sued by the charterer for not completing the voyage or for the delays in expenses incurred or whatever? Asked a guy from operations. Hmm, mental health issue. I should have to check with our lawyers about that, Campbell replied, a worried tone in his voice. After a brief pause, as he came to a decision, he said he would call, starting today, all the ship captains one by one to ask them to remain calm, control their crew, and not to take any drastic step. Let's do whatever it takes to convince them. Seamen are naive, were his last cryptic words before he disappeared from the screen. Rebecca, a little flustered, wondered if she would be singled out, the first manager to have a mutiny on board. Surely, she couldn't be held responsible for the deviation from the voyage that the ship had undertaken to complete. But one never knew in this corporate setup or with Campbell. She hoped the MD's call to all the ships one by one would yield positive results. Otherwise, if more vessels followed suit, her job was on the line. Captain Balkrishnan aboard the Tokyo Dawn was rudely awakened by the sound of the satellite phone in his cabin. Good evening, Captain. I heard you have diverted to India. Who is this? MD Campbell here, Captain. The Gora MD himself, Balkrishnan, was flustered. Oh, good evening, sir. You are making a terrible mistake, Captain. The tone was patient. What are you trying to achieve by disobeying your employer, breaking the terms of the charter, and heading for a different port? Do you expect to be relieved at an Indian port? Do you realize that the ports will not allow any crew change to take place in this pandemic? Do you realize the effect this drastic action will have on your career? No company will want to hire rebels like you and your men. The captain had no answer to that. Being rebuked by the MD deflated him a little. His mind raced to come up with a retort. Captain, the voice purred, changing tack. You are highly regarded in this company. We all want to help. All efforts will be made to have a relief crew waiting at Singapore if you resume your voyage and arrive here as scheduled. Are you sure? Of course, top priority, my orders. Very well then, I will head for Singapore, Mr. Campbell. Thank you very much. Delighted, Balakrishnan cut the call. Chester Campbell smiled with satisfaction, congratulating himself for averting a dire situation. 2 days before Singapore, he would ask Rebecca to tell the ship that crew change had been arranged for the next port after Singapore. Enough time to think of the next lie and the next till the bloody lockdown lifted. Seamen are so gullible. So, people, how did you like the story? Corona has brought not only the best in us, but also the worst in some people. How has Corona affected you? Let us know in the comments. If you like the story, please share and subscribe, and also let other friends know about this channel. I'll be back with a new story next time. Till then, take care, keep listening. Bye bye.